Didn't know if I had seen it.
There we go. Okay. So do you guys have any questions about anything?
Do you?
No.
Before we
Okay,
officially get going?
No, I just want to make sure I got a recent episode of yours in, and that was about it. Like, that was my goal for today. I listened to it at work, so I think that you answered everything. I think. Well, I'll think of something surely while we're recording.
Well, that's fine. All right, guys. So just give me like 5 seconds of silence. I'll come in. I'll do the intro. I'll let you guys talk a little bit about DNA Gaming. If you want to plug, dissect that film, all that stuff in the beginning, and talk a little bit about what we're doing for the top 5, and then we'll just kind of get into it. And most episodes go anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, just kind of depending on how the conversation goes. But don't feel pressured to, drag it out. Just whatever you want to say about your picks is completely fine. All right, so I'll come back in here in about 5 or 10 seconds. Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Two Peas on a Podcast. I'm so thrilled that you joined us again this week here on the main show, but false advertising again up at top because it's 3 Peas tonight. We have 3 of us on the program tonight, not 2, but that's okay. Dan and Angela are here. First time guests to the Peas. Yeah. What's up? DNA Gaming collectively, I guess you guys are known as, but what's up? Welcome to the show, guys.
You liar.
What? I changed my shirt.
I did. Change your shirt. I just realized what he's wearing.
Yeah, he's promoting it there.
I'm still wearing my work shirt.
That was mine too. I was like, no, somebody's got to wear something. You speak first though.
Well, I'm the only one right now that's streaming through DNA Gaming, so I guess I am just a gaming at the moment. He fills in when I'm not available, whether I have to work or sick. But I pretty much play anything and everything. I do crafting on Mondays.
I was going to say, what's the main focus? Like, what's your favorite game to play there?
Oh, gosh. My favorite game to play?
What do you look forward to the most when you're going to be streaming?
Phasmo on Fridays with my buddies.
Phasmo Fridays.
Yes, that's
fun.
That's my end of the work week kind of chill day.
Well, that's cool. Dan, you don't get in on the video games very often, huh?
Not anymore. I kind of stepped away from it. Like,
he started it.
Originally, yes, I was the progenitor of all of it, and I just don't enjoy streaming as much as I used to anymore. So I'm just kind of like, I just prefer to play games myself and do my own thing. And she does it. And then, of course, we are part of Dissect That Film. So that's kind of takes up more majority of my time. Whenever I play things like anymore, I've been playing it like in front of our children and stuff, so they can kind of experience some of the games. We had when we were younger, like I actually just about finished playing through Final Fantasy IV, the Pixel remasters that released on the Switch, PlayStation. And I've been reading the story aloud to my kids, just kind of like, like story time, get them involved. Eldest doesn't care because he's almost 15, but we have a 9 and a 7-year-old, and they like it. And so
that's cool. Yeah, I have a 9-year-old as well. I don't know if you know, his name's Logan, but he's recently been like, can I have a channel streaming? And he wants to play Fortnite on the Switch because that's what he plays mostly.
Yes.
And I'm like, bro, I don't know, man. Let's just hang tight, because I don't know if he's gonna like pass, or if it's like, because running a channel is not like you just snap your fingers and do it. I mean, it's a lot of work, know, and I don't think he gets that I'm going to be the one essentially doing the work while he plays the game. So I'm like, let's just hang tight. I got my own stuff going on, possibly down the road, maybe this summer when school's out or whatever, I'll let him play around with it a little bit. But I really appreciate and respect what you guys do over there, because I know it is a lot of work to put it in. I mean, it's fun, of course, but a lot goes into it.
Yeah, it's a good time. So.
I said, DNA Gaming, you guys are gamers. You guys love video games, obviously. I came on Dissect That Film a few months ago. So I know you're a fan of movies as well. And I said, this topic has been kind of bounced around a little bit. So why don't you guys tell everyone, what's the top 5 list that we're doing tonight? What are we counting down tonight?
What? Why me?
Okay. I don't care.
doing movies. I guess movies and TV based on video games.
Yeah, movies and or TV shows based on video games. Now, without giving away any topics that you guys decided, I want to let everybody know you guys brought your individual list with you. So each of you
Correct.
have your own top 5, which I think is really cool. But without giving any titles away, and you guys can, whoever wants to talk first is fine, and then the other one can give me their impression. What was the research like for this? Because for me, I got to be honest, it was a little tough. The pool was a little shallow, so to speak. What did you guys think? Angela, how about your research?
That was my thing, because unlike him, I didn't get to watch a lot like when I was younger. So these are my more recent movies that I've watched. But basically, I just Googled movies based on video games, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that one. Oh, okay, I've seen that one. So then I had to go and like, they're kind of in order. Kind of not. Like I still am like flip-flopping.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the order's always tough.
I remember more about this one than I do this one, and then I have one that I took out, and I'm like, because I don't know if I really saw it or if I just have seen like clips here and there.
Yeah.
So,
well, Dan, what about you, man? Was this an easy list for you to come up with, or how was the research for you?
Like you said, the pool is incredibly shallow. I mean, they don't have for actual films and such based on video games, not just like video game inspired, because there's some pretty good ones outside of that, or in that
I agree
realm. Usually better films than what's actually in that pool. But anyway, I literally just pulled it up and I was like, okay, these are the ones I've seen, and looked over and I was like, okay, these are the ones I remember. These are the ones I enjoyed watching or have watched multiple times, or still, to this day. But I had one that just kind of like came up behind me and slapped me in the back of the head, like, "Hey, stupid! What about this one?" I was like, "Oh yeah,
what about me?
That movie? Yes, I remember you."
Why do you guys think? I think because we're all in agreement that it's not really a giant list of movies for us to pull from here that we would consider like top tier. Why is that though? Like, I feel like, do you guys have any idea? Do you have anything you want to say about why you think it's such a crappy kind of pool to choose from? Because I mean, video games have been around forever. Movies have been around longer, of course, but I mean, there's some really good video games, like with good story, good characters, and either they don't adapt them or they just don't get it right. I mean, why is that? That's kind of weird, right?
Sometimes I find it really hard, because you see, like, not like Lara Croft, you see the evolution of the games, and I think it's just difficult to fit all of that into a movie. Like, you have to pick and choose. They have to pull from, oh, we really like this, or the fans really like that, but then sometimes it just doesn't translate very well.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was weird. I'm like, man, there's like maybe 5. But
I think I came up with 6 that I have seen.
It wasn't hard to narrow the list down, I assure you.
Right.
But on the subject, it makes me think of like, it's almost the same problem with adapting novels or comic books. Like, because listen, dude, I'm unga bunga. I don't read a lot of novels. I'm the bang 2 rocks together kind of guy, but I like comic books and, reference manuals and stuff. But like comics, it's just, you lose. Kevin Smith said it best. When you adapt it to the screen, you lose that ability for the characters to internalize on a page. And there's certain aspects of even a novel, that just gets lost when going to a film. Some filmmakers can capture it, but there's tons of people like, the novel's better, blah, 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 blah. Well, of course, they have way more time to do details, whatever. But that's the thing with video games. I think it's down to atmosphere, to even, which I don't think would be as hard, because, video games are such a visual media, and so are movies, obviously. And like, even that gets lost, but it's the atmosphere, gameplay, progression, even a character on that, like a text box, or especially for older games, even they have, text box that comes, you could kind of like take something in, and you don't have to stop the movie. You can just kind of take the game in or whatever. And I just think a lot of that gets lost. And Honestly, I think a lot of it is, or some portion of it is either people who don't know how to properly adapt it, be it directors, writers, producers, meddling from studios. And I think if usually the whole thing is let's make a movie out of it. It's big, so let's just get big stars out there and just put something out to make money. And I think that's
of course they've done the flip side too, which we're not really talking about tonight, where they'll do a video game based on a popular movie,
which usually sucks
TV
too.
show or whatever.
That's fine.
Yeah, and sometimes that works a little bit better to kind of which plays to your point a little bit, because a movie's 2 hours essentially, and so they can take that 2-hour story and then build it over however long it takes to play the game.
Yeah,
whereas the other way around, you're kind of in that box,
Yeah, and there are good, like you said, TV show, movie adaptations turned into video games. Like there's good versions of that, but they also again are plagued by most of them aren't good. So
right. Yeah, it's just a weird thing, man. I was researching because this topic was pitched by one of my listeners a long time ago, like a couple years ago, and it's been banged around, and we just haven't done it until now. Nice. And so I started looking at it. I'm just like, man, I can't believe there's not more. I know it was just surprising to me. Like I just thought it would have been a little bit more plentiful, but here we are. So it sounds like we all came up. All three of us came up with 5 at least, though. So that's good.
Yeah, I got an interesting curveball. I don't think anybody else is going to get. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's get into it. We're going to go around the horn, and we will do our top 5 movies or TV shows based on video games. Angela, I'm going to let you get us started with your number 5. What do you got?
Uncharted.
This is one I hadn't seen.
I don't have much to choose from, so that's my number 5.
That's with Spider-Man, right?
Yeah,
Tom Holland. Yeah.
And
the guy that doesn't read books.
Parker keeps
Mark Wahlberg.
Parker keeps telling us that he doesn't read books.
That is the definite. This is like the movie. It's like this and The Happening. I'm like that man has never touched a damn book in his life.
I don't know. Now you'll have to explain this to me, possibly some of my audience too. But I didn't see this. I know it came out. Didn't it come out during COVID as well? Like, wasn't this like a COVID movie? I think so. So is the game Uncharted as well? That it's based on?
Yeah, they're all it's all Uncharted, but don't they have, you've played more than I have, but don't they all have like different
subtitles?
Yeah,
they do.
Oh, it's like Uncharted and like a chapter or whatever.
Yeah, they all I think it's Uncharted Drake's Fortune. Uncharted 2 is crap, I don't remember. I lost it. I know there's like Thieves End is the 4th one. Lost Legacy is the spin-off one they did. I don't
So it's like a whole series kind of.
Yeah, they're really well done.
I don't know anything about these, and I saw that movie come up on some lists when I was Googling. Like Angela said, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen it, so I didn't want to put it on my list. I kind of wanted to see it, and I just never did. So maybe I'll check it out on streaming. But Uncharted is your number 5. You enjoy that one, or are you just putting it on there to fill your top 5? It's a good movie.
I enjoyed it. Like I've not really played the games. So I'm going by what I've seen him play and what I've seen other gameplay from other people. And I mean, I enjoyed, there was a couple scenes that made me chuckle.
Good times. I like it. So good way to get us started. Uncharted is Angela's number 5. Dan, you brought your own list. You're going to be your own man tonight.
I was going to say,
what is your number 5, brother?
I honestly was torn. Uncharted was just below. There was a few other ones. I was like, I could slot into this, but for my 5th pick, I went with something that my 5th pick was Mario, the new one, 2013 Super Mario Bros.
That's my number 6. It just missed my top 5.
Say ironically, Uncharted, like I said, Uncharted just missed mine. I like this movie because I was expecting it to be a complete disaster. I mean, I figured they wouldn't repeat the same thing they did in '93. But I didn't have high hopes, as I don't with most video game movies. But there were enough references, some really deep cuts in the background and stuff like that. And Jack Black is amazing. Anytime he gets to sing,
he's great.
It's about Peaches
or whatever.
It's fantastic. I enjoyed the experience in the theaters. My only caveat was, even though I went in with low expectations and I started watching it, I kind of just felt that it should have been just a little bit better than it was. I had a slight empty feeling when I finished.
The story was the weak link for me, like the actual like script. I mean,
Yeah.
like the nostalgia and the Easter eggs, and I mean, it was phenomenal. Like, it was just like great, and it was my son's first movie theater experience. My 4-year-old.
Oh, nice.
So that's always going to be special to me. I'll remember that forever. And he loved it. And now every day he's like, "Can we go see Mario at the movies?"
He's so cute.
Angela commented on the video.
How did you do at the movies? Did you do well?
He did great, man. We were worried because he is not a chill kid. Let's just put it that way.
We understand.
So we were like, this kid's going to be insane. But I think he was so just mesmerized because it was like a huge screen and like, all these other, I mean, it was packed when we went to see it, and he did good. He did real good. And then my 9-year-old loves it too, obviously. So I take him to see anything I possibly can. We're going to see Guardians 3 this weekend, him and I. So, but that's a good pick, and it just missed my list. Now I'll segue to my number 5 because it's kind of Mario that you mentioned from this year, and this movie were literally battling for my 5th spot. Now, as a video game and as the lore of, like the origin of the video game, Mario is my shit. Like, Mario Kart is my all-time favorite video game ever. And the Super Mario characters I love a lot more than the characters that you'll get in the video game adaptations that this movie came from. But judging it as just the movie, I feel like this is one of the better. I mean, obviously I'm putting it in my top 5, but it appeals to kids. It appeals to me. And it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
I forgot about
from 2020.
No.
I mean, Jim Carrey eating it up, dude. Just like so good in this. I'm such a huge fan of his anyway, but I mean, as Robotnik, Jim Carrey is like unstoppable. I mean, you just can't beat it. And I'm so glad that they fixed the CGI with Sonic too, because that was a shit show when it was being made, and fans, demanded a change, and they thankfully did change it.
They succeeded one time. We're gonna get that's our collective victory.
Yeah, that is one thing you do not see is when fans have, a collective wrong that is going on, and somebody fixes. Not saying it's wrong, but it's like that looked really bad. Like that would have really hurt.
It was frightening. I remember being like, "What the hell?"
That would have scared a lot of kids.
Yeah, that would not have gone over well with families as the movie. That would not have aged well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
No.
But I like the sequel too. The sequel didn't make my list, but I think the first one's better. I think the sequel is kind of like the same movie, so it's kind of like replayed a lot of the things that I loved about the first one. But I mean, it's a doubleheader. I think they're great. Ben Schwartz, who voices Sonic, I'm a big fan of from like Parks and Recreation TV show that he was on. And I don't know. I just, like I said, Mario, I love more like if we're talking about the game and the games. But from a movie perspective, I think Sonic was killer. It was a great, CGI / live action film. So there you go. Did you guys ever play Sonic back in the day?
God, I did. I got to play it at my cousin's house. It was it
was good times.
Yeah, we got
the Sonic and Mario Olympics thing you can do now on the Switch or whatever.
Yeah,
you get both. Yeah, that's great.
I've actually grew up playing. I can't talk words. My brother and I had a Genesis when I was very much younger, and I remember getting it. We got it with Sonic 1, and we got Sonic 2 eventually. But shout out to me because I played video games all my life. Like it's one of my favorite things to do. You said you play a lot of video games yourself. Some of the music from Sonic, I love chiptunes, like the older music from tons of old games. And Marble Zone from Sonic 1 is one of my favorite songs ever. So like I have that nostalgia, but they're good. And
killer. Angela, you're up. You had Uncharted at 5. What is your number 4?
Y'all are gonna hate me. The old Mario.
The live action with Bob Hoskins. Wow. I don't hate you. I mean, it's not good, right?
He's gonna hate you.
You think it's good? I mean, well, let me rephrase that. So it's good if it like takes you back to that place as a kid, right? But when you watch it now through the eyes, because I just watched it again, like it was during COVID, so it's been a couple years, but I rewatched it and I'm like, this is fucking horrible. Like, what is this? But I loved it as a kid, right? I mean, is that kind of what you're saying too? Like,
I recently watched it for the first time for our recording, And I just had fun just picking at the movie. Like, yes, it's not good, but I enjoyed just I felt like I had so many fast quips that I could just throw out at this, and it just made it more fun to watch.
Trying to find the episode number, but we covered it on the podcast. I was like, I can't find it.
Did you? Okay, I'm gonna check
we covered it. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
What did Brett say about that?
He hated it.
Oh yeah,
did he? Okay.
Like me too. I grew up watching this movie. Like I remember when I was a kid, like Mario Brothers movie, watching like what is this?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like strippers, BDSM. Like what? This is not what Mario is. It's like the DOS port. I don't remember this.
Such a different experience now
definitely.
Yeah. Didn't like it as a kid.
That's cool though.
Don't like it now.
You probably shouldn't have liked it as a kid.
Hey, that's cool though. Mad respect to you, Angela, that you're giving that movie some love for sure.
Since I forgot about Sonic.
Yeah, right. Well,
would have pushed that one out.
I was thinking about one that I might shoehorn into my top 5 that kind of cheats a little bit, but we'll see. We'll get there.
Screw it.
Dan, give me your number 4 first, man. What do you got it for?
My number 4 was your number 5. It's Sonic.
Hey, nice.
Like you, I'm going to reflect or mirror a lot of what you said. We really enjoyed seeing it in theaters. I was pleasantly surprised. I was way better than I was expecting it to be. I found it humorous. I like the characters, and of course Jim Carrey, like you said, and some good references. I do some of the music tones they use from the games, like I talked about. You hear them in the background. It was mainly Green Hill Zone, which kind of made me a little mad because there's a lot better songs than that in the game, but that's fine. Different games, but it was good. It was very enjoyable, and I agree. The second one was not nearly as good, even though Idris Elba was in it, which we love him, and he was great as Knuckles, but he just didn't make the list.
Yeah, well, obviously I agree with you, and obviously Angela's even more sad now that she didn't pick it. We would have had 3-way crossover, but that's okay. We got a little love for the old Super Mario because of that, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So my number 4, I mean, you guys know if you look behind me, if you've listened to my show, if you know me in any facet whatsoever, a lot of my listeners will know, but I'm a huge horror junkie. I love horror movies in general. It's my favorite genre of film. I see you guys have the Crystal Lake thing behind you there.
Yeah.
I got Jason back there.
That way.
Oh, he fell down
Backwards.
over there, but he's been.
It's all right.
So this is the only, in my opinion, I'll preface it by saying my opinion because I have some friends that like some other ones, but they got it right, I feel like, in 2002 with Resident Evil.
Yes. Okay, we're following.
Jovovich, Michelle Rodriguez. But what happened after that, I have no fucking idea. Like, I don't like anything else I've seen of the Resident Evil franchise, but that first one I thought was a wonderful blend of horror and sci-fi and women kicking ass, a lot of good special effects. I never played the game, but I love the movie, so that's why it's my number 4. What do you guys think of this one?
Okay.
I can see where you're going. It's almost like, you see the first movie and you're like, okay, this is okay. And then you see anything after that and it's like, ooh, that keeps moving, higher and higher in the like department. And then you just, I'm like,
I very vividly remember the first Resident Evil movie. I did not see it in theaters. I saw it on DVD. But I am what?
I saw it on TV.
Did you?
Yeah,
oh, wow.
Sorry.
It was when
Edited.
TNT, it was like TNT used to play like all these movies. And so you'd catch like bits and pieces. I don't even think I watched the whole movie. Because you get the commercial breaks and then it's like, I'm a kid, I'm like, I don't like commercials, so I'm gonna go over to whatever
different channel,
whatever other movie channels play in another movie. So it's like, okay, well, I missed that part.
Well, I remember it vividly because, like I said, I'm a fan of the Resident Evil franchise. I love the games. I do recommend you play them sometime, though, if you
need to.
Get a chance. I really recommend. Just take out of a freaking hat. Don't play 6. 6 sucks. That's
well, what's the new one? Shit, I can't remember. We just got my son a MetaQuest for Christmas, the VR thing.
Yeah.
And there's one on there. It's Resident Evil something, like it has a subtitle. I can't remember what it is though, but I really like it. Is it?
Because I know they recently did the Resident Evil 4, and I think it came with the MetaQuest, or maybe you can buy it.
That might be
ours
it.
came with Resident Evil, didn't it?
What now?
Didn't ours come with Resident Evil?
Because I think we got so yeah, that's just like I said, the first VR version of Resident Evil 4.
That's the only like video game version of Resident Evil I've ever actually played. I mean, I've seen gameplay of the other ones, but I've never actually played them myself.
Yeah. So fair, but if you ever do get around them, I'm curious what you'll think them. But I really like this one. I enjoyed the first Resident Evil movie. Mm-hmm. I kind of like it was different in its own way, but you had lickers and zombies and stuff, and Umbrella and blah, blah, blah. So you hit a lot of the notes, and you said Mia Jovovich was awesome in it, and kicking butt, and it was a fun time. Mm-hmm. And then they did the second one. And they decided to make the one dude from the first one into Nemesis from the second one, which Nemesis is one of my favorite video game villains of all time because it's from my favorite Resident Evil of all time. And they decided to screw the pooch and ruin that character by making, oh, Jill, I remember you. Like, no, that's not what he is. This is not even remotely close. But, yeah.
This might be why a lot of the movie adaptations don't hold up, because they screw it up from in the adaptation department. So but there you go. Resident Evil is my number 4. I had to give it a shout out. I remember loving that movie when it first came out, and it was kind of at the height of my horror. Like, I was just on the rise as a horror fan when that movie came out. And zombies and infection or virus movies or whatever you want to call it is it's its own subgenre at this point. And that was kind of early on, really, at least like big Hollywood production type stuff. So I'm a big fan of it. And there we were up to number 3s now. Angela, what do you got at number 3?
The new Mario. I loved it.
Yeah.
I am big on nostalgia and everything going on in the background with all the Easter eggs that are going on and the little, all the music. Like, I'm a big music and movies.
It's good.
It's so good. And I love Jack Black, so.
You know what I loved from that movie too? I don't know the character's name, but the little fucking blue star guy that's locked up or whatever. And
my gosh!
Says the only way you can escape is to hope for death or whatever.
They're one of the Loomies or whatever from Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Is that what it was? Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember their actual name, but it's this little star dudes.
Just swinging back and forth. Like,
it's so good.
Just so happy. And he's dying.
My daughter was like, "Why is it like that?" Like, it's. I don't know.
Just don't ask questions.
It's a happy nihilist. I don't know what you want.
Oh man, so we got to run on Super Mario movies on Angela's list.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's any more.
I don't have much.
I love it though. I love it.
Find some.
All right,
Hey,
Dan, what about you, man? What do you got at number 3?
Oh,
I could start singing Mario.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Sure.
Or the
TV
Mario
show.
rap. Anyway, number 3 for me is Rampage.
Good one.
Rampage, I really liked for a couple reasons. Growing up, I'm a huge monster movie / kaiju advocate. Like, that's one of my favorite movie genres. My favorite film of all time is in that genre. And it's probably one of the types of movies I watch most, horror probably being second. And I don't know, man. It's Dwayne Johnson being Dwayne Johnson and being charming. You have giant monsters. You have just ridiculous happenings, why they become huge, which is very similar to the game. There's some really cool callbacks. For those of you who didn't know who have seen the movie, in the very beginning, there's a giant rat on the space colony. That is Larry the rat, which was first appeared as a Atari Lynx exclusive on the Atari Lynx version of Rampage. So if anybody doesn't know what Atari Lynx is, there you go. But so there's some decent deep cuts, and I can't think of the actor's name, but it's the dude that plays Negan in The Walking Dead.
Yes.
I can't think of his name, but he's in this movie, and he's the charming asshole that he should be.
Hang on.
Is that
I
Norman
love him
Reedus?
Not
too.
Norman Reedus. It's the guy at the back.
And he was in.
I can't think of his name, but I'm gonna keep talking while you're looking it up.
Can't think of it either.
Just blank. Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Thank you.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's ridiculous. It's giant creatures. There's a giant alligator. There's a giant wolf that flies like a bat. There's the albino monkey dude. It's Lizzie, Lizzie, Ralph, and George. It's just a fun giant monster movie. We watched it in theaters right around COVID, right? I think it's when that came out.
Yeah,
something like that. But it's a good time
because we went on a date.
Yes, and I remember I rented that a lot as a kid on the NES, like and then playing the arcade and stuff. So it's good.
That's
stuff.
Cool, man. That's cool. Yeah,
some nostalgia.
Well, I've only got 2 TV on my list out of my top 5, and this is the first one. Now we're talking about our kids, and I did not know. I'm assuming you guys know this, but I did not know this was based on a video game until I announced this episode because I get feedback from my fans, which we'll shout them out at the end, by the way. And a couple of them said this, and I was like, is that based on a fucking game? Like, I didn't even know that. And then I started researching. I'm like, oh, my God. But it's based on a Canadian video game that came out in 2017. The show premiered in 2020 on Netflix, the Cuphead show. Are you guys familiar with this?
Cuphead, hell yeah.
Cuphead.
Yeah, dude.
Great.
Cuphead and Bugman are fucking maniacs. I love that show so much. And I'm so happy that my kids love it. And they got me into it because it's one of those shows. It's not like Ren and Stimpy where it's that adult, you know what I mean? But it's like just enough where it's like okay for young kids to watch it, but the adults are going to get a kick out of it because of some of the hijinks they get into. But I just love that show so much. I love the intro music to that show. And I really want to play this video game now because I'm such a huge fan of the show. I didn't even know it was a thing.
It's
so hard, dude.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
hard.
tackle it. Yeah, I've watched people play it, right? It's like a old school side-scrolling shooter, but like it's hard, but it's all hand-drawn animation.
Okay.
Like the show. It's gorgeous, but like it's cool. The aesthetic's cool, the enemies are cool, but it's just tough. Just keep that in mind before you start playing.
Okay. Did you guys ever watch the animated series on Netflix?
No, not yet. I've heard about it, but
yeah, it's up there for me. Recent like animated stuff like this one and probably like Gravity Falls are 2 of my favorite shows.
I want to see Gravity Falls. I've never watched
so good,
it.
Man. So good. Yeah, so the Cuphead show, which I'm glad that we did this episode because I probably would have never known that was based on a video game unless it just came up somehow. But yeah, there you go. So that's my number 3, and that's my first of 2 television shout outs on my list. And we're up to our runner ups. We're flying through it here. Angela, what do you got at number 2?
His number 3, Rampage. I loved it. I love the design of all the animals.
It's good CGI, right?
Yeah, I love The Rock. I mean,
he's being The Rock.
He is, but like I loved it.
I think that guy works out. I don't know.
A little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Get a good diet or something. I don't know.
I think this would have been my number 2 had I not remembered what my number 1 was.
Yeah. You told me. Yeah, I got it out of you.
You did.
Angela, you played Rampage as well, or no? The game.
I have seen it played. I have not personally played it. I'm one of those that if I've never played the game, I will watch people play, and like that's a big interest. Like if he ever plays something and that I don't want to play, I'm really into watching it played. So.
Yeah, and kind of it's almost like I like doing that too if it's something that I'm considering because it's like it's not the reason I do it, but it also kind of acts as like a tutorial a little bit where you could be like, oh, I remember seeing them do this or you know what I mean? And you don't go in super, super blind to something.
Sometimes I'll do that for a game. I'm like, I don't want to buy that game, but I just want to see how it plays out. So
yeah.
Watch somebody play. Like,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Like
That's
when
cool.
you play or when you watch play the one game that you said you couldn't figure it out. You streamed it.
Fuck. Oh god.
And you're like, you really wanted to play it and stream it, but then you're like, and then you watch somebody play it and it was like, oh.
Scorn. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it just for a second. Do you know what that is?
No.
Scorn is like H.R. Geiger puzzle kind of shooter, weird, fucking wild, just crazy. Like if you like H.R. Geiger aliens, you don't know what the fuck's going on. Play that game. I'm so
okay.
Sometimes I'm sorry, but just watch a playthrough of it because it's weird, like really weird. Like things coming out of you and things like attaching to you, and it's all body horror stuff. But I played it. It was on Game Pass. I played it for 30 minutes. I was like, I can't figure this out. I was trying to stream it. Like, it's boring trying to watch me figure this out. So I just watched somebody beat it in 2 hours.
Love it. Sounds cool. Rampage, a little crossover there for you guys on that one. And Dan, give us your runner-up now.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I always double check my list. I don't want to say wrong. Okay. My number 2 is 100% nostalgia. And it makes me think of a food item that you're not going to guess. But it's not food related. The original Mortal Kombat.
Okay, the OG.
Yes, I love this. I was actually going to watch it before the stream tonight because I hadn't seen it in a while, or I was recording, and I had work stuff come up, so I couldn't do it. But anyway, I have a couple stories about this movie. Outside of I like it. It's generally not a good movie. It'd be considered a cult classic now. But some of the way the actors did, you could tell they had fun with it. They just hammed some of the roles up. Not all of them. It's got some good fights. Very questionable CG. Of course, it's dated. Whatever. Nobody cares. And it's just fun. And a lot of nostalgia. I'm going to wear those rose-tinted glasses for this one and the next one and not give two flipping craps. But first time I went and seen this in the theater, it was 95. It came out. So I would have been 8, 9-ish years old. I had my first legit, like, people weren't even talking about it, but like panic attack was at the beginning when Shang Tsung kills Liu Kang's brother, because I wasn't expecting it. It's like, it's Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's not scary. It's just people dying. And it's PG-13. It'll be all right. It freaked the shit out of me, and I had to leave the theater. But anyway, and then secondly, the food item is I remember watching this a lot when I lived in a farmhouse. And whatever I did, for some odd reason, I was always eating beef and bean burritos. So it makes me think of beef and bean burritos, oddly. It's a weird...
You're right. I never would have made that connection.
I very vividly remember sitting in that seat, watching it by myself in the living room, eating beef and bean burritos. But I love the movie. It doesn't make sense. It's got the typical old movies, whitewashing stuff that, you know, happened at the time. Who could that? Again, everybody talks about whatever. But it's fun. It's just a fun movie.
I agree. I love this movie too. I haven't seen it in way too long, but it's funny that's your number 2. My number 2 is the new Mortal Kombat.
Hey,
not watched.
Came out in 2021. Also another freaking COVID movie. So I'm kind of pissed that I was robbed of the chance of seeing this on the big screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it kind of took everything like what you were talking about from the original, and obviously you're fast forwarding 25 years, so you have just immediately enhanced CG, enhanced special effects, fight choreography. All that stuff is going to obviously just be a lot better because of, you know, the process of time and advancements. So if you love the game, it's cool to kind of like remember those arcade boxes where, you know, they were shitty 8-bit graphics or whatever, 16-bit or whatever they were, and then see it as this just like crazy visual, just mind fuck. I mean, it was just so good, man. Such good fights played out. A lot of great callbacks to that first film and also to the video game. A lot of the characters that I knew so well from playing that video game. And I graduated high school in 94. So I was a teenager, man, when Mortal Kombat was like kind of taking off and was a big deal back then in the 90s and early to mid 90s for sure. But yeah, I love your pick too. And I kind of was battling which one to put on there. But I think what I did is I was kind of like, if I could rewatch one right this minute, which one would I put on? And it would probably be the 2021. Because it was just just aesthetically, it did so much for me. And it kind of took me back to a nostalgic place too. But it was like just a great action movie with awesome fight sequences with characters that I knew so well. So
yeah, we
kind of Mortal Kombat crossover, but
yeah, close enough. It's not Annihilation, so it's all that matters.
Yeah, I would pick that one.
I don't think anybody's picking that one. But anyway, sorry to, you know.
We still have a number 1. I'm just kidding.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation apologists, not, you know, dumping on you here, but we never saw this movie, the new one. Like,
ever?
Dude. I went through a long phase of being bad about watching movies. It wasn't really until we got back on the podcast or on the podcast that I've become more frequent with watching films. I used to watch them all the time with my cousin. Like, that was just like, hey, let's go over. I got a new movie, Road to Perdition came out. Let's go watch it. All right, let's watch Road to Perdition. You know, we went to Walmart like every week, every Tuesday, and bought DVDs and stuff. So,
well, you guys got to watch this on HBO Max right now, which is it did the, you know, it was during COVID, so it was like the straight to streaming or whatever, like they did with Godzilla Kong back then too.
Yeah.
But it's so good, man. I mean, especially knowing that you love the first one and you love Mortal Kombat. I mean, you guys should check it out. It's bloody. It's really intense. Like, it's a lot more graphic than the one that came out in the 90s and really even the video games.
Yep.
So, yeah, I know you guys have kids, so just be prepared for that. Don't maybe don't let some of them watch it, but
and I understand.
But it's
No,
good,
I
man.
agree.
So we're up to our we're up to our number ones. All right, let's see what we got. Angela, has your number one been mentioned?
Yes.
Okay, what is it?
The OG Mortal Kombat.
Hey.
I got to play the game first.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because this came out around the time of Mortal Kombat 3.
Well, but sometimes.
No, I'm just letting you know. It's.
Mario. I watched the old Mario movie after playing Mario.
Yeah.
So I remember growing up, going to my cousin's house, and I would be the only one there after school for about 30 minutes. So I'd get to play and do, not what I wanted, but I had to entertain myself. So I remember playing the video game, and then when the movie came out, it was there at their house, and I watched it, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
But I love Sub-Zero and Scorpion. Those were always the two that I played. So I was like, oh, I get to see him in action. This is awesome.
Yeah, you guys are gonna love the new one. You got to watch it.
I've seen some stuff from it. Well, I'm gonna turn this on because you're always asking questions. I want to ask a question. Do you have a favorite Mortal Kombat character like that you like?
It's probably Sub-Zero. I mean, I played with constantly.
Yeah, I was the reptile guy when two came around. The first one was Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, anytime I could do Sub-Zero, that's what I was doing. So.
Oh, always.
I get locked in like that too. Like when we're talking about Mario, like it's always Yoshi for me in Mario Kart. Like I never played with anything other than Yoshi. And so yeah, I'm just kind of like a stickler. I don't know why. I just feel like
did we just
almost like a duty to like, I think so. All right, man. So Mortal Kombat all over the place. Angela's 95 Mortal Kombat's her number one. It was your number two, Dan. So what is your number one, buddy?
Okay. So there I was. It's my famous starting line for a story. It's usually a story full of bullshit. But
not this time.
No. So I was sitting there trying to think. I literally pulled up a list. I was like, video game adaptations. Just going down this list, everything I could think of. And I was looking at a couple anime movies, which if we do honorable mention, I've got a few of those I could mention. But and I was like, just going through the list, and nothing was on there jumping out at me. And I was just sitting here thinking to myself, I was like, oh shit. And it literally hit me out of nowhere. But my number one pick is the 1996 anime movie, Battle Arena Toshinden, which is based on the Battle Arena Toshinden game from the came out, I think, 94 on the PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and I believe it was also in the arcades. It's a 3D or like arena style fighter, more like Mortal Kombat 4, some of the later Mortal Kombat games, and it's all weapon based, kind of like Soul Calibur. But the movie is an adaptation of the first three games, primarily the second game with bits of the first and third. And it's literally typical tournament stuff. Think of like Mortal Kombat. It's like a tournament going on, and these dudes are fighting, but then there's like this evil organization that's making like robot android versions of the fighters, which if you've played the game, like I did growing up, I'm like a fan of this stuff. And it's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. And if my brother ever listens to this, he understands 100%. It's beautifully animated as some of those higher tier animes were at the time. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's 2 parts. I love it. The English voice acting isn't horrible, and that's the version I watched because that's what I grew up with. My brother and I rented it a lot, and then he bought it. There was a cut version, an edited version, and an uncut version. And if you do look this up, it is on YouTube. It's a fun watch, but there is some tatties. So keep that in mind. Other than that, it's just some language and violence. But it's just, I love the movie. I used to be able to quote it from beginning to end. Wow. I knew every line of dialogue in this damn movie. And I watched it a couple years ago because I found it on YouTube. Like, oh, I want to see that. And I've gone through about every year or so. It was about 3 or 4 years ago. So every year or two, I'll just go back and watch it. And
I love the personal connection For your this is not one I'm familiar with the game or the movie. Angela,
I don't think
are
most
you
people
familiar
are.
with this?
I've heard the game. I've actually seen it played.
Maybe I have a big box copy on the PS1.
Yeah.
But
cool.
I get a few memorable quotes from it. I do say occasionally, your deductive skills are admirable, is from that movie. But
okay, now I know where that's from.
that's where that's from.
Nice.
But I just love it. It is, like I said, 100% rose tinted glasses. I just adore the movie. In fact, we're talking about it. I'm like, I want to go watch it right now. Like, I've seen that movie so many times.
Yeah, special to you, which is cool, and to have the connection to it. So there you go. That's your number one, Battle Arena. What's the subtitle? Battle Arena.
Battle Arena. It's Toshinden. So Toshinden.
Toshinden. Okay. I'm gonna look that up. You said it was on YouTube. I'll check it out. My number one is possibly recency bias because I just binged this TV series.
I know what it is.
But it's The Last of Us.
Yes.
Okay. Holy shit, guys. Like I never played the game. Okay, so just a disclaimer that I was worried about watching this because everybody's like, it's so great, and it had, critical acclaim, and like I love Pedro Pascal, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, can I do it if I didn't play the game? Like I was just like kind of putting it off because I'm like, well, I'm not going to know what's going on. So I have no foundation. I still haven't even seen one frame of the game aside from a couple still images or whatever. It didn't matter. Like this was such a well-written, amazing character development. Bella Ramsey is just an all-time badass bitch at age 14 or however old she is, but she just kills in this TV show. I don't really know if I like Pedro better in this or Mandalorian because I just think he's just so fucking great in both of them. But
I haven't seen this yet, so
you haven't. I won't give anything away, but yeah, have you seen it, Dan?
What
the show?
Yeah. Oh hell no, I don't watch it. No offense, I don't watch it.
Good.
I know, dude. Believe me, like I hear it all the time.
Yeah,
my friend and coworker literally worships the shit that comes out of this game's ass. And like, no, I don't mean that in a bad way because I know it's a really good game. I know it is. I've played about half of it. Don't know why. I did one of those things where you start something really good and don't finish it for some reason. That was the first game. And he loves this series. Loves it.
Yeah.
But I love Mandalorian.
But he has point. I know of everything because we just talk about it all the time at work. I have no intention of watching it. I'm just bad at watching television series. I just am.
Like, I get it. Well, me too. Yeah. Honestly, I don't do it a lot, and I'll go like in the first half of each year. I'll binge shows. So I waited for this to finish. So I didn't watch it when it was happening, and everybody's like talking about it week to week because HBO releases weekly. They don't do like Netflix or whatever. So
yeah.
I waited the 3 months or whatever it was for all of them to be out, and then I watched them all in like 3 days. If I can't do it that way, it kind of freaks me. Like kind of like what you said. Like I won't continue it.
Yeah.
I have a problem.
Like I don't have
with cliffhangers. Like don't do that. Like end it at a point where I'm like, okay, I'll be okay until the next time. But don't end it somebody saying something and end it mid-sentence. And I'm like, nope, can't do it. I get mad.
She does. It's true.
I get so mad.
She just gets mad. Yeah. Well, obviously I'm recommending it. I think it's the best thing that we've gotten based on a video game. That's me personally, but if you're talking about just the craft of making it and the performances and it's so emotional too, guys. Like it's like
I've heard that.
You're going, what?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, where's season 2? Like I got to see what happens to my people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So yeah, The Last of Us is it for me. That's my number one. All right, I'll tell you what, guys. We're going to take a quick promo break. And when we come back, we're going to give some honorable mentions if you guys have any. And then we will shout out the fans online and see what they had to say in the old suggestion box. Everybody sit tight. We will be right back. All right, you guys doing good over there?
Yeah.
All right, so when I come back in here, I only have 3 honorables, I think. Not very good.
I got a couple.
But when we come back in, we'll just give our honorable mentions. I'll have you wrap up your 5. So just have your list there so you can just list through your 5 real quick. Just re-list them. You don't have to say anything about them. and then I'll have you give your honorable mentions, and then we'll just do the online shout out, and that'll be it. Okay.
Cool.
Can I say something at the end of this episode?
Yeah.
It's related to the last episode, your last episode you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something minor.
You mean like you want to say it on the recording? You mean?
If you don't care.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah, you say whatever you want.
Oh,
whoa!
I'm just kidding.
Don't get in
Whatever you
there.
want.
I'm just kidding. But I do want to say something.
We'll take that.
No,
part.
absolutely, man. Yeah, sure. You're definitely welcome to. All right, give me just a minute. I'll come back in. All right, guys, welcome back. As I said, pre-break, Dan and Angela from DNA Gaming and Dissect That Film are here. First-time guests of the show. We just talked about our favorite adaptations from video games for movies or television. And we had some crossover, kind of, but not really, honestly. Or at least me with you guys. Well, no, we did have Sonic, didn't we? Yeah, Dan and I had a Sonic crossover. And then we kind of had different versions of Mortal Kombat and Mario and some other stuff. But let's just wrap up our top fives real quick. Angela, remind everybody, what was your top five again?
Number 5 was Uncharted. 4 was the old Mario. 3 was the new Mario. 2 was Rampage, and 1 was the OG Mortal Kombat.
There you go. Dan, what was your 5, buddy?
All right. 5 is Mario, the new one, 2023. 4 was Sonic the Hedgehog. 3 was Rampage. Number 2 was the original Mortal Kombat from 95. And number 1 was Battle Arena Toshinden.
Yeah, I got to look up that Toshinden, man.
Yeah.
And my top 5 was, number 5 was Sonic the Hedgehog. Number 4 was Resident Evil. Number 3 was the Cuphead show. My number 2 was Mortal Kombat from 2021. And my number 1 was a show I just finished a couple weeks ago, The Last of Us, which is over on HBO. Please watch it. Please watch it. It's only 10 hours. You could knock that out. So there we go, guys. So some good top 5s there for video game adaptations. We have some honorable mentions. You guys have, Angela, you want to go first? Which ones didn't quite crack your top 5 you want to shout out?
Well, since I forgot Sonic.
Yeah.
Street Fighter.
Yeah. Jean-Claude Van Damme, right?
Yeah, like he mentioned it, and I'm like, I don't know if I ever watched it. I remember the front of the VHS, but I don't remember anything else about it. So I'm like, did I watch it? Did I just like?
I watched
it's
that in
tucked
theaters.
back there.
I was going to say, it's like one of those things where it's like in your head, but you don't remember if you saw it or if somebody just
There's
talked
a lot
about
of useless information in there that I think it just kind of got pushed out.
All right. Any others?
That's it.
All right. What about you, Dan? What honorable mentions you got, man?
I was going to say what's one that we talked about earlier, but for yourself was Uncharted would be an honorable mention for me. And then a few more anime I would like to throw out there was handful was Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, which was pretty fun. The Street Fighter Alpha film, which was also pretty fun, beautifully animated, mind you. And then Fatal Fury the movie.
Nice.
Also an anime. So,
well, I was going to shoehorn one in, and I decided not to. Let me ask you guys, because you have kids. I'm assuming you've seen this, or at least you know of it. But what about Wreck-It Ralph? No,
Wreck-It Ralph is the best video game movie of all time.
Even though it's
not
based on it. That's not based on one. Yes.
So I had a question too. Do
cheating.
you consider Ready Player One based on a video game? Because
No,
it's
that's
based
kinda
on
like-
multiple. Like I was like that. I'm like, I love that movie,
Exactly,
but it's
and I
kind of
guess
like
that's kind of-
stretching the
right.
boundaries.
And I think that's kind of where the trap that Wreck-It Ralph kind of falls into.
Yeah.
Like
Because it's
Ready
got
Player
similar-
One and Wreck-It Ralph are kind of in the same.
because that would.
But I don't know. I mean, it had some, like what was Kubert's in there and fucking
Zangief.
Yeah,
from
I mean,
Street
there's a
Fighter.
lot of
Satan.
Satine, actually.
I know. He's like Satan.
Yeah,
But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of a somewhat of an honorable mention. But we already talked about Super Mario Brothers from 2023 is in my honorables. Street Fighter, you mentioned, would have been in my honorable mentions. And then the only other one would have been Tomb Raider, the first one with Angelina Jolie. I mean, if you were a teenage boy and didn't have the hots for Lara Croft, I don't know what you were doing with your life. And to have that
you
translated
just had to be a
to...
teenage boy. I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't a teenage boy.
And there you go. Teenage girls too, probably.
See, my grandmother was really big on the Tomb Raider movies, the Angelina Jolie ones. I just never got in them. I wasn't a big Tomb Raider
I like the
fan
first
either.
one. I like the first one. I mean, it was kind of like Indiana Jones, but it was a woman, kind of that whole adventure,
yeah, of course,
thing or whatever. So it was cool, and she's a great actress, so I thought she did really well with it.
That's correct.
So that would have been it for our honorable mentions, guys. How we end every episode is we head over to social media and see what the fans had to say in the old suggestion box. And I just said over there, what are your favorite movies or shows that are based on video games? Let's see what they had to say and see if there's any that maybe we did not come up with tonight. Joey DiCarlo, a friend of the show, says Mortal Kombat from 95. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Street Fighter, Werewolves Within, and House of the Dead. What do you guys think about those?
Oh, boy.
Werewolves Within came up on my list, but I was like, I've never heard of that. So
I saw it. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie, and I honestly didn't know it was based on a video game. I mean, the movie was okay, but I wouldn't I'm not rushing to rewatch it or recommend it to people, And Dan put his head in his hands when I said House of the Dead. What's going on over there, buddy? You okay?
Mad props to people like what they like, because I like my own fair share of schlocky or whatever movies that I like.
Sure.
But I have seen House of the Dead, and it I'd rather plant my head into this desk right now.
You almost did when I said it.
I was close. I remember, dude. Because I like the House of the Dead on. It was originally on the Sega Saturn, and then the second one was on the Dreamcast, and it was the light gun game. And I'm just thinking of a funny parody of it. But anyway, beside the point. The games were fun. They're horribly dubbed, and the movie was I just thought the movie was terrible.
I didn't see the movie. I didn't see the movie, but I know it's not considered a great film.
But people like what they like. It's an Uwe Boll movie, and I know that guy has his own stuff. So
yeah, for
yes, mad props to you for liking it though.
Let's see. Jared Taylor, patron and friend of the show, says The Last of Us and both Mortal Kombats, 95 and 2021. Tony Dobbish, patron and friend of the show, says he really enjoyed Sonic. Also, The Last of Us is by far the best. I got somebody else throwing that at you.
There you go.
And then Netflix probably has the best track record here, though, because you've got Cuphead, The Witcher, and Castlevania.
Yeah.
See, if it would have been
Castlevania's good.
If I would have known
Witcher's
TV, if I would have,
yeah.
I think I may have misread your message.
Sorry.
No, that's on me. That's not on you.
Yeah, we made
but nothing. I don't want to change anything because we got the 97 Super Mario shout out. On your list.
Don't change it.
The Witcher was good.
The Witcher was very good.
I agree. So let's see. Joey Austin said, and patron of the show, by the way, says King of Kong.
Oh yeah.
That's a documentary, I guess, based on.
Yeah, that's based on the guy who did because there's a guy that has the record, and then there's somebody tried to debunk that he was full of it, and it wasn't actually a legitimate record. I wonder if that's that one.
Yeah, because he put in there that's the documentary about the video games. Yeah, so that must be. Okay. Well, I guess that's kind of based on.
It's a movie. I mean,
yeah. You could do it, yes. You guys ever heard of Brett Parker? You know that guy?
No, I have no idea who that is.
He's got a list here.
He's going to talk too much. He's going to talk too much right now. No, go ahead.
He's got his 5 here. We talked about all of them. The Last of Us, Sonic the Hedgehog, Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie, The Cuphead Show, the 23 Mario Brothers movie, and Rampage.
He knows what's
his
up.
List.
Yeah,
he knows what's up.
You guys should do a show with him. It sounds like
we should one day. We should invite him.
We'll have to reach out to.
Dan Brennick, patron and friend of the show, says The Cuphead Show, Arcane, which is based on the League of Legends, Castlevania, and Uncharted. What do you think? You guys know Arcane? I don't know that one.
Heard of it.
I know of it, and I know of the accolades, and I know of the gorgeous animation that they did, and they really shifted a lot of animated series or series based on video games because of how well it was done. But I don't play League of Legends or anything, so I really don't have any interest in watching it, but I've heard good stuff.
Listen to this. I'm going to read this full thing. I love this. Now, Angela had 97 Super Mario, but listen to this, guys. Josh Ragland, patron and friend of the show, says the Super Mario Bros. Super Show was a fun and campy show starring Captain Lou Albano and the awesome character actor Danny Wells.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys watch that?
The Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Do you remember when Shaq was in their medicine cabinet?
Yeah.
That's good. I love that so much.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
He also says the original Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter films were perfect 90s for me. And then he's got great memories of the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider as well. Nick Haskins, friend of the show, and the guy that's running live stream for The Cure. Make sure you guys look that up. Are you going to be on there with Brett, right? You guys are doing that, yeah?
That's correct.
So this episode is actually preceding that. We're a week away from it as this episode's dropping. So make sure you guys look up live stream for The Cure. It'll be in the show notes as well. But he says he's going to champion Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within until the end of time.
That's an interesting choice. I couldn't get into that one. I love the Final Fantasy franchise. I just could not get into that movie.
Yeah. Let's see. David Powell, patron and friend of the show, also says the Final Fantasy movie, but then he says Arcane, The Last of Us, Mortal Kombat, and Conquest for TV. And then for movies, he says Tomb Raider, Silent Hill, and Werewolves Within. Silent Hill I saw come up on a lot of lists when I was researching, but
I didn't watch that one either.
It's okay.
I'm more of a Resident Evil guy, so like I didn't make it around to that one yet.
And then the last one I'll end on is our buddy Julio from the Contrarians, patron and friend of the show, and he just shares a GIF of Henry Cavill from The Witcher.
Yes,
like doing his hair kind of in the thing or in the GIF or whatever. Yeah. All right, guys, this was a lot of fun. I really appreciate first-time guest Dan and Angela coming on to talk about adaptations from video games. Which, by the way, there needs to be more good ones. I don't know, but we did good. I mean, we filled the hour. We had a lot of different titles that came up, and
surprisingly from such a small pool, we did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was kind of worried. I was like, I wonder if we're gonna have like 4 out of 5 the same. So it was cool. Well, and actually, got some different ones from the fans online too, so that's cool.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry, I'm trying to interrupt. I wanted to mention one thing from the last episode of yours I listened to about trilogies, because I didn't realize this, and I got to say this. Nobody mentioned this in your comments that I know of.
Oh, wow.
I was going to mention believe me, it's obscure as hell. So I'm not surprised nobody mentioned it. Was the Heisei Gamera trilogy, which I don't know if you know what Gamera is.
No.
Gamera is so obviously everybody knows Godzilla, right?
Yes.
So Gamera was a competing company that released a giant monster movie. It's about a giant turtle.
Okay.
That flies like a UFO. Don't ask questions. It's just what he does. He's the friend of children. But in the 90s, he had a really solid trilogy, 95, 96, 99. And they're some of the best giant monster movies of that era. I think almost period. They're really good. Nobody else was going to bring it up but me. But I was like, I should have said that. And I missed the...
That's cool. I'll have to actually drop the link to our group. I don't think you guys are in there. I should have done that before we recorded. I'm sorry. So you could have seen some of this feedback, but I'll drop it in the Twitter chat for you guys too if you want to join up over there. But that the trilogies episode is the one right before ours is airing. So if you want to go back and check that out, but thanks for mentioning it. I'll have to look that up because I love old school, like just weird monster shit, So
Gamera, you can't miss it. The stuff from the 60s and 70s is a little weird.
Spins around.
I enjoy it. But the 90s is the best stuff.
Sure. All right. Well, you guys are the best. I tell you what, as we end here, why don't you just tell everyone a little bit about DNA Gaming if you want to point them over there, Angela, and then, of course, Dissect That Film, whatever you guys want to let them know where they can find you guys.
I stream on Monday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know if you do links below your
Yeah, I will. I'll
videos.
Put them in the show notes. Absolutely.
Because I don't remember what it is. I had to do Twitter one way and Twitch the other way, and I can't remember which way is one.
But you stream onto Twitch, right?
I stream on Twitch every Monday, Friday, and Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
All right. And what about Dissect That Film? You guys are hanging out with that Brett dude. You're talking about movies.
Yeah. Dissect That Film.
We're not quite sure who he is.
What?
we just hang out with him.
Yeah, we talk about all sorts of films. It's kind of off the cuff a lot of the time. We do full breakdowns and all that fun stuff. We occasionally do new movies. Very occasionally, Parker talks about a television series. We get to talk every once in a while. Parker talks a lot, but that's fine. That's why we love him. He carries the show. We're just kind of here.
Yeah,
but it's on any major podcast service. Doesn't matter. Just look up Dissect That Film. We're also on YouTube if you want to actually watch me do something stupid in the background while Parker's trying to be serious. I do that a lot too. But yeah, check us out. We've covered all sorts of movies. It's not really...
Yeah, it's a cool show. I went on a couple months ago with you guys, and we did Everything Everywhere All at Once, which ended up winning the...
So good.
Yeah, I love it.
I talk about that at work all the time, especially when they mention hot dogs. I'm like, let me show you this scene in the movie I watched.
Yeah. We have an Oscar winner that is hot dog fingers, butt plugs, and dildos being used as nunchucks. So,
dude, that boy,
we've won. We
Yeah,
have won.
So good.
if you want to see me going a more lengthy conversation, dissect that film, look up our coverage of that movie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to come on there and talk to you guys, and it was equally as fun to have you on here tonight. So I really appreciate both you guys being here. It means a lot to me. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
this has been fun.
Absolutely, guys. All right, everybody listening, take care. We will be back. Actually, we won't be back next week. We're going to be taking a break for live stream for The Cure, like I mentioned before. So just a quick plug for that. Make sure you look in the show notes and go to livestreamforthecure.com, where you can donate and see all the amazing content creators and podcasters that will be on the live stream. I'll be there in person in New York with Nick, putting on the event, so I can't wait to be a part of it. And look for these guys, and Brett and a lot of other podcasters will be on helping to raise money for cancer research. So until then, we will be back the week after that with another top 5 for you. Everybody take care. All right, you guys hang tight. I got to upload your file.
Trying to get it in there.